all of my moods. Just be alone with you. I'm thinking, can't you hear the thoughts of this fool? Can I be alone with you? I'm better than cold, my soul stripped out. My hands are empty, I'm a face in the crowd. I'm running away, I'm running back. What may be gone, what the future holds, I'll never head back to the old. I won't cry, but you bet I will lie. I won't lose. Tip of your hat, your voice so sly. Slowly this ember begins to light. Silence raged, the colors are gold. Smoldering way, wanting gold. Reaching out and I let it go. What may come, what the future holds, I'll never get back to the old. I won't cry, and I will lie, 'cause I won't lose. What may come, what the future holds, I'll never get back to the old. I won't cry, but then I will lie, 'cause I won't lose. I won't lose. I won't lose. 'Cause I hold on. 'Cause I hold on. 'Cause I hold on.
Hey, hey, everybody, welcome back. This your boy Reckless Talk with the Reckless Talk podcast. Man, I got a special exclusive interview for you guys. Episode 43, kicking it with international singer-songwriter Emily Glazener. I'm sorry. Man, how you doing today? That's an amazing song. Amazing song.
Thank you. I'm doing good. I did all my mommy duties and daughter duties today, so and I made it here with 2 minutes to spare. So
man, I appreciate you finding time in your day. I know you got a busy schedule. I know you're performing right after this this interview. So I truly appreciate you coming by. I want to give a shout out to Cricket Moon and her tribe. Amazing people. Cricket's the one that reached out to me about you, and what made me excited about this interview was how excited she was about it. You know what I mean? And I love that. That's women empowerment, artists empowering other artists. You know what I mean? As soon as she told me about it, she sent me a message, and I felt the excitement through the message. You know what I mean? And that's what I love, man. It's awesome, man. It's definitely an honor to have you here. It really, really is.
Well, I adore Cricket. She's wonderful, and I watched y'all's interview, and her music is beautiful, and her story is beautiful, and you know, when you sit down and you talk with her, like, you just feel the goodness. And there's not that many people that you come across and that you feel that, and you're like, hey, right on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, well, let's get started. Tell us about your life as a child, and was it a music-filled childhood?
Yeah, it was actually. My dad used to take me. I'm the only girl. There's 3 boys, and I'm the only girl. I've got 1 younger and 2 older, and so we would have daddy-daughter dates because it's the only time that it was just me and him. And so we would eat at the Chinese restaurant that was in town, and then he would take me. I love this. To his local pour, his local place, and he would play music just for tips and stuff like that because he loved it. And I would sit there on the bar stool. I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, just that's my dad. Thought it was the great thing. Remember, he would be like, "Don't tell your mother. Who would want that? And then, like I'd have my, like the little dresses in the 80s that look like Barbie doll, baby doll dresses kind of things. I can remember wearing them and sitting there with, those baby doll shoes and all that. I remember it so well, what it looked like, watching him play, and he loved it. And they loved listening to him play. And he never really played for, he wasn't paid. He played for tips. He just really enjoyed it. And then my mother used to work in a nursing home. And so, and she brought in all the entertainment there in Natchez, Mississippi. And my dad and I used to go in, and with just one speaker and one or two microphones, not much of anything, and plug in, and we would play old cowboy songs. That's what we would do. And, but that was, and then, so I've got that from my dad. And then on my mom's side, it was R&B, soul, and, pop, things like that, because that's what she loved to listen to. And then my brothers are older. They're 4 and 6 years older than me. So then I had every bit of rock and roll coming into my life. I'm born in 1980. So I was primed for great music.
Facts. Tell everybody. So you're in Houston. Tell everybody where you grew up at.
I grew up in the first 9 years of my life was Natchez, Mississippi, and then the rest is here in Texas. This area, the Golden Triangle in the beginning, right? I moved it to Port Arthur when I was 9, and I moved to the Baytown, Bellevue area when I was 12, and then I've been, just this area. This wonderful, hot, really sticky, hot, wonderful area.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's hot. It's definitely that. We're looking at 100 degrees for the next 10 days. 100 plus degrees. Man, tell us, how did your performance journey start? Was it school, church?
Okay. No, this one's great, and I love this one, and I've got to tell this one to a couple of people, which was really exciting. But so there was a tornado in Susie B. West. It was the school that I went to in elementary, and in that area of Mississippi, tornadoes. We did that, So that whole thing, get under your desk, blah, 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 blah. All the lights went out. And back then you could have candles and stuff like that. And they lit candles because something had sparked. And when the transformers went out, and it was just dark for a long time, probably about an hour after the storm went through. So they would get everybody up in the classroom, and they would have to stand on a little wooden chair and sing a song. Everybody sang, Mary Has a Little Lamb, Jesus Loves Me, everybody. I got up and sang Emma Fiddle by Morning, because that's literally what I thought George was saying. What I got up and sang, and I sang all the words completely incorrect and all this, right? And afterwards, and the lights came back on, I remember the assistant teacher, because we had those back then, she drugged me down, to the principal's office and called my mother. You know what your daughter just did? And she's like, what? That's what she was just, she wasn't mad, but she didn't know what to think, because I was up from San Antonio, I was into it.
That rugged sound.
That was it. That reaction. Do you know what your daughter just did? Like I said, she was just wow. That did it. I was probably six.
That's awesome.
That was it. I was because I was able to do that. I didn't have any problem singing in the nursing homes when I was 7, and yeah.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. Can you explain the moment when you knew you had a special talent, a unique talent and sound, and you knew this is what you wanted to do with your life?
Yeah. I have this great guitar teacher. A lot of people think I taught myself to play guitar, and I didn't. My dad, he let me play. He said if I learned how to play this little hammer part on Sleepy-Eyed Boys by John Prine, that he would let me have guitar lessons, because my little brother was getting fiddle lessons. So I was like, okay. So I learned this little part in the next week, because I was on them. Because I wanted piano lessons because I love Elton John, and I wanted to play like Elton John. But we couldn't afford a piano, so I had a guitar, and they gave me guitar lessons. And I went in, and the first song I ever wanted to learn how to play was Your Song by Elton John. And Kevin Hardin, my guitar teacher, he listened to it, transpose it from E flat into C. And then he says, okay, come back. You know, let's see what you do. Now, I don't know if you know, but it's like 13 chords in that song.
Yeah.
Because there's variations. Like, it's insane. And of course, I learned it, and I came back and I sang it for him. And he was like, okay. And then he gave me another one. I learned it. Another one. I learned it. He said, well, we have this thing called the Baytown Opry. And I want you to get on stage and sing a song that I pick out for you. Because it's not going to be Elton John. I was like, all right. It was actually, it was Here Comes the Rain by the Mavericks, because he could hear it in my voice, because I learned how to sing by mimicking Elton John.
Yeah.
True. It is. Like, I could sing any Elton John, and you'd be like, yeah, can I?
Yeah, I love Elton John, man. Amazing singer.
But that's what it was, that song. Getting the reaction of, your love's a heartache, it's torn me apart. The fact that I could do that at 15, and the reaction that I got, you just get hooked immediately. They're like,
yeah,
oh, I love this. And just fumbling, and not even fumbling through the chords. I still have the piece of paper where he listened to it and he wrote it out for me, you know, and what each slant meant was strum. You know, that was awesome. I loved it.
That's cool. So you mentioned that he would give you songs and you had to learn them. So basically, you technically taught yourself how to play the guitar.
Well, no. So he taught me how to play the chords. So
okay.
I would bring him in a song like Tiny Dancer is a piano-based song. It is not a song that is based on a guitar. But come hell or high water, I was going to learn the way that it sounds, right? So he would teach me, and he didn't, you know, he would say, okay, this is your C, this is this, these are the fingers, this is where you balance your pinky. You know, he would tell me, and he would give me great advice. Like, he would say, well, an F, if you slide it down, that it's an F sharp. If you slide it down, it's a G. It's, you know, he would teach me very quickly how to transpose without even really, that's what he was teaching me. He knew what he was teaching me, but he didn't sit down and goes, you know, it was like the shorthand of the other things he said, something happens, you don't have a guitar, you got a piano, I know you know a basic of the piano. He taught me how to transpose chords and play, you know, inverted chords. And most people, when they play a guitar, you know, or when they play a piano, you have G, B, D, right? That's G, and you only play that. Well, he taught me, he was like, well, you can put B, D, G. It's the same chord, but you don't have to move your fingers as much. And I was like, oh, that is glorious, you know? Because then you can really get through something without having to go moving your hands so much through it. For me, it was magnificent. I was like,
that's awesome.
Best guy ever, yeah.
That's awesome. It's crazy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't take lessons for very long. I took him, I think maybe 2 years, if that, because he was like, I've taught you everything you could do. Go on and do your thing. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you play the guitar, the piano. Is there any other instruments you play?
I used to play saxophone, and I don't know if I could do it anymore. I played the alto, but really I played the baritone saxophone. Boom, 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 boom. You know, like as you probably will find out later on in this interview, I'm a huge fan of Eddie Izzard, and there is a piece of comedy, and it's talking about how, like, when you play, you're like third seat anything, right? You play the notes that are left over. I love that. The notes that are left over, and you play them really loudly and like that kind of thing. Yes, because when you're playing the baritone saxophone, that's literally all you're playing. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Everybody else is playing such fun stuff. I remember the Washington Lee Swing, which is like the Barbers Hill High, Lee High School, I think Sterling High School. Bum, 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 bum. Mine was boom, 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 boom. That's all you got to do. And everybody else is enjoying it. I was like, the notes that are left over. I remember going, yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. That's awesome. What moment would you consider that was your big break?
Well, I don't even know if I've had a big, the big break. I always look at it like, you know, then looking to the next thing. Going to England was wonderful, and getting to go over there and play this festival and getting to meet so many people. But you know what? I take that back. getting getting acquainted and getting to have my music produced by Caitlin Gray and Neil Harvey, that's my big break. And I say that in the sense of I made friends with Caitlin years ago via Twitter. She liked Red Iris, original band I've been in for years, and I liked her music. And as women, we just started talking, and I would tag her in anything, she would tag me in things, and so I had this great rapport with her, and she introduced me to some other people, and then I got a chance to work with her. It was Chris Gregory of South Devon Radio was like, let's get her to produce the music. Great idea. So she and Neil, you listen to that, that's just the two of them being absolutely amazing. So I think that's my big break, because without them, my music is really good. It's great. It's acoustic. It's been recorded once before. Long story short, recorded, take it down. But the way they do it, they feel my emotion. They'll ask me, what were you thinking? How was this? What do you think of this? They'll give me a chance to listen to it before it's mastered, goes out. They are absolutely amazing producers, and I'm very, very fortunate to know them and to work with them.
That's awesome. Big shout out to them, for real. Did you ever imagine, when you first started your career, did you ever imagine you would be at this level?
Yes, because that's what you do. Like, you're 6, 7, or Jesus, being 12 to 15, still singing with a microphone in your bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, my 14-year-old does it now. He's really into George Michael. And I'm like, I did the exact same thing with the exact same songs, He's like, fake. He's like, Mom, have you heard this song? I was like, yes, I have heard Outside. He goes, do you know what it's about? And I'm like, yeah, I've lived for a while, kid. But
they don't realize how old we really are.
Yes.
I love that answer you just had. Like, real quick, you have to think about it. Yes, I knew this, and that just shows your confidence. A lot of people are like, oh, that's being cocky. Nah, it's really not. If you have a goal and you want to be somewhere in life, tell yourself, I'm gonna be there, and I can tell you did that. You were just so confident, no problem. You answered that real quick, and I love that answer. I love that confidence. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's not my quote. It's not my thing. But I love that. You have to believe you can do something before you can do it. Because
Amen.
If you can do it, you can't do it. And like I said, being an Eddie Izzard fan, I know that from Eddie, but that is someone else's quote, and it's so great. Captain Kino, I believe. But still, you have to believe you can do it, and I love that. Like, yeah. There are times, like, there's a song called Believe, and there are times that, like, like, I got something to do, I got all this crap, throw that Sarah McGinnis song on. Like, you're just in it. You're like, and my kids, that's a great song for them to listen to. They love listening to that. Yeah. There are people that I really, really admire. Like, I love autobiographies, and I one of the ones I read a couple of months ago, I believe it was called Reckless, and it was Chrissie Hynde. And man, from Pretenders, she worked. She always wanted to do it. It took her like 11 years to get to where she finally got there. And then she never stopped. She's in her 70s, killing it now, today. And that's impressive to me, Even though, like, Elton John made it pretty young, but he kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. It's pretty amazing. So I love those stories.
Yeah, if you could have one artist, dead or alive, that you could collab with, who would it be?
I could collab with? Well, that's a lot of people. Well, I actually, everybody's listening to this. They're screaming. They're going, it's Sarah. Yeah, probably Sarah McGinnis. I would be like, that'd be so cool. Honestly, if I'm being really real, Elton John, Sarah McGinnis, because I just love her music. And I'm trying to think, Bernie Taupin, as a lyricist and everything, but just maybe not the collab, but like to just sit down and hey, what makes you tick, you know?
Yeah. I think it would be an awesome collab with you and Proverbial Kool-Aid.
Who?
Proverbial Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
They're a band out of California. They're in Houston now, but they're from Cali. I did a interview with Damon, the head singer. Oh my goodness, I think that would be an amazing collab. I'm gonna reach out to him after this interview,
Okay.
and link you guys up. That would be amazing. I think because your guys' sound is so different, but it's different to the point where it would work amazingly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm gonna definitely reach out to
I got
him.
another one. Brandy Carlisle. God. You know Brandy Carlisle, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna stick that one out there too. And Cyndi Lauper. Yeah. You know, like you get asked a question and it's like, I have ADD, so it takes a minute, but yeah. Yeah.
It's like there's not one answer. There's a bunch of answers for that. Yeah, I definitely understand. I get it. What is it like to try staying true to yourself in a demanding industry?
Well, for me, it's respect in the sense of I'm being someone else. What am I teaching my children? And what am I teaching the other kids that I know that follow me and the other younger female artists that I know that follow me? Because you get somebody coming in there and they're like, change this, change that. If you don't want to change it, don't change it. You know, just don't. You got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And they'll tell you you have to. No, you don't. You don't have to. You really don't have to. You can be exactly who you are. Because if you change for whatever they say to change for, then you're a cookie cutter. You are the same house 5 times in a row. And no one wants to be that because everyone is individual. And that's, stay true to yourself like that.
I agree. I like that. I definitely like that. How would you describe your style of music?
I've been told like it's like I've been told it's that I love rock and roll, but I know that I have a weirdness in my voice that kind of gets a little bit rock, a little bit of country, Americana, that kind of thing. That's what I think it would be, rock and roll, country, Americana. But I could sing the hell out of some British music. I can.
I'm glad you clarified that because since I've been listening to you, I've been trying to figure out like what genre is this? Because it's a little bit of a few different things. Your style is definitely unique. It definitely is. When you found out that when you first found out you was gonna be performing in another country, how did that feel?
Well, it was really cool because like it was in like 2019. I started taking my music and putting it on Twitter and putting it in different places like Red Iris, Moonlight, in fact. Moonlight was the one that we had out. It was the one that we had like a little video to. It was about my husband. I knew it connected with people when they heard it. People would sing along to it at our show, so I just put it out there. And I had a couple of, and I say British, I love the UK. I had a couple of British internet radio stations pick it up and love it. And I thought, okay, well, this is something. And then it got to certain people around the UK who were just like in the same scene that we are here, but over there. And I got an invite from this band called Specky Cult to go play the Crossing the Time Festival. I got in touch with, and I said, do you really think I can play? And they're like, yeah, we'll just ask Steve and Leslie. So I had talked to both of them. They were like, well, you're coming all the way from America, send us your stuff. I sent them my stuff, and like not even 5 minutes later, they're like, yes, please come. So that was really cool. And so we billed it as Emily Glazener of Red Iris, because it was only me that was going. And yeah, it was awesome. It was such a great feeling because every person I've gone to high school that I've run into, they were like, oh my God, Emily, you said you were going to go and you went. I was like, yeah, I'm going again in 2 months, kind of thing.
Awesome.
Because, I always wanted to play, and now I'm going to play. And this time, hopefully, I'll make it into Scotland. Last time I was supposed to go up and play in Scotland, but I wasn't able to because I was supposed to play in Scotland, but I wasn't able to because my guitar broke. So I was going to, I was so upset. It was the Fringe, too. The Edinburgh Fringe. They had me a place to go. It's still, but everything happens for a reason. So It didn't happen that way, but hopefully this year. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, we're
That
gonna
was
speak
it.
that.
It was like fulfilling. It was so strange to be there, and I go by myself. I always travel by myself, because I love the idea that I can go wherever I want to. I don't have to ask you, do you feel like going to such and such? When you're taking them with you, right? And they're like, oh, we have to go there. You got kids,
Sometimes you just want to get up and go.
When you travel by yourself, honey, you can. I went all over. I loved it. I love it now. I can't wait to go back. I've made really great friends. I have a friend who's an actress in London. Her name's Rachel. And she's like, Ems, when you get here, we're going to go here and we're going to do this. And I'm like, yes, we
That's awesome.
We went bike riding last year. We went bike riding in Hyde Park. How cool. I have a picture of it. We went to the Comedy Store, and I got to meet Richard Branch. So awesome, from the Comedy Store Players, by the way. Yes.
That's awesome.
Best time. I love it, and I love getting to meet new people, or just getting to catch up with somebody, because you don't see them except for that time of year, because you live 4,500 miles away. 4 or 5. And it's like, so it's cool. I love it.
Where would you say, outside the country, what would be your favorite city you visited?
So that's a hard one, because I love England. Whenever I love the North. I have this amazing affinity for the North, and every time I go, I stay in Whitley Bay. I really love Whitley. It's absolutely beautiful. You get off the metro, and then you just walk down. You just walk down to the sea, and it's this. You're staring out into the North Sea, and it's beautiful blue. I'm gonna try to find the blue. I've got it somewhere, but it's like cobalt blue.
Yeah.
Gray skies, and it's cold, and you're looking like little children running around in that water, going, I don't know what's wrong with y'all or your parents. It's like you go over to California, you get in the water, it's 63 degrees, you're freaking out. So imagine how cold it is there.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love
We have Terry in the comments. Terry says she is an amazing singer-songwriter.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Definitely is. What would you say is the difference? Well, before I even ask that, what was it like the first time you performed in another country? The first time you got on stage?
So the first time I got on stage, it was for that festival, and it was, and I knew we were raising money for different charities at that time. It was for the Northeast Homeless Charity, and I had met the cat who had organized it and put it together. We had a conversation of why he did it. I saw how beautiful this festival was, and that's what they were doing. So when I got out there, it felt amazing to stand up on that stage and know that in a way you were helping to raise this money, and you came so far, but how united we were in this great cause.
No, that's awesome. What would you say is the difference from performing on stage in another country compared to here in America?
Nothing. You still the whole point. What do you do when you're up on stage? I've got to somehow connect with you. I'm looking to get you to understand what I'm trying to tell you through a story, whether it's my song, whether it's somebody else's song. I'm looking to entertain you. I'm looking to read the crowd. You have to read the crowd wherever you go. You can't just come in and play one kind of music to a certain place, and you're like, whoa. I tell that to people all the time. I'm going to play what I want to play. I said, well, if you're going to play what you want to play, fine. But you need to understand this is what's going to happen. You are an entertainer, so you are reading the room. If somebody's come to listen to you play your original music, that's a different thing. But whenever, like I'm going to play here later, I'm going to play some of my songs, but I'm going to play quite a few covers that mean a lot to me. But I'm going to look out and be like, they're going to want to listen to Van Morrison. Yeah, we're going to do Otis Redding. We can do Van Morrison. yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of aha, that kind of thing. It runs through your brain like split second, that kind of
Yeah, that's cool. Where we at? Let's see. Tell us about your creative process and how do you come up with your lyrics?
So, these last songs, like my Christmas song that I had, I was leaving Thanksgiving, and my kids were staying with. It was 2020, matter of fact, and things opened up for us the way it didn't for the world. Like we're Texas, things opened up. So, I was leaving, and leaving the littles at home, or with both one went to one grandparent, the other one to the next. I was like, yeah. And I can remember going through the light and thinking of, like, man, it was 70-something degrees, and thinking, snow must be falling somewhere. That line. And I ran with it, I got home and I looked at what was sitting on my desk, and I love to make humanity great again. Fund, because it's about raising money for different charities around the world to do really good things. And I know that so I looked at this knowing that, it's Eddie's or Susie's fund. So I thought, well, I can't speak other languages really well. Like, I'm really terrible at it. But I could sing Merry Christmas in at least 4 to 5 different languages. So I got on my Google and I just started doing it. So, like, Frohe Weihnachten, and Merry Christmas in German. We all know Feliz Navidad. Joyeux Noël, that's French. And if I'm saying them wrong, I'm sorry. They sound really great. So, that kind of thing. That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking of Bon Natale, that's Italian. So those are the ones that I chose because I thought, to me, Christmas is very inclusive, and it can be. And even though not everybody celebrates it, it reaches every part of the world. And however you do celebrate it, whether you celebrate it in a religious time or you celebrate it just the fact that this is when you come together to be good and to do good things. And that's why. And so, like, it happened really, really fast. I recorded it eventually I got to record it with a great guy down in Galveston. He recorded my vocals for me. And Keith Neubauer, wonderful musician down in Galveston, let me come in, and then I sent it off. And it's so cool where you listen to it, what Caitlin and Neil did with it. I let a few people, they listened to it and they were like, yeah, Emily, I don't know how to tell you this. I mean, it sounds really great, but it sounds like a Hallmark movie. I'm like, that is exactly what I want. That's forever. It's exactly what I want.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny you said that. So this morning I did the kickback on Facebook Live and was playing some of your music, and I ran across your Christmas song, and it was about, I don't know what time. Sometime this morning I was doing it, and it was hot. It was over 100 degrees already, and I said, you know what, God, we about to listen to a Christmas song. I played it. I said, "Show, all right, Christmas in June," and I promise you, listening to that song, I felt like the temperature dropped 5 degrees.
Yeah, see, that is it. That is it. The cool, oh man, I just love it. I remember when they sing it to me, like, in the beginning, and I was riding in my car listening to it, like, I love them in the face. So great. Because they were like, what do you want? That's what I got. That's what I got. Isn't that brilliant? That's what I got. So, with other songs, like Circle, I watched the 2021 marathons, like, in January. I watched, like, people say, no, you didn't. My children can vouch for me. Yes, I did. I watched every moment. I even got to talk to Eddie. She and I talked day 5. We supposed to talk like 10 minutes. We got on so well, we talked like 40. It's on YouTube. It's so cool to sit there and watch, right?
Awesome.
And I watched every single one of them, and they were so powerful in the sense of the people that came on to share their stories. Awesome and amazing. And so I took my story, I took the stories that I listened to, I took, my friends that I knew, and I swear I came up with Circle. And I think Circle came out like around the end of January of that. Like, marathons didn't even finish by the time I got that song out, because I was so inspired. I thought, how cool is this? And I love playing it. I love knowing that's where it came from. I love what it says to me, the stories for my children, and the idea of, you know, this tragedy that I had that other people have. It can bring on something good if you look at it like, I am not the only one who's ever had this, and my children aren't either. And if we can share our stories, someone else will not be alone. That is the importance of it. That is the importance of it. Because that's this part of the song. She tells her husband and her children, and he tells this woman who's going to commit suicide. She changes her life, becomes a nurse, and she tells that soldier who's trying to walk, this is what's going to happen. Because that's what's going on in my mind. Whatever you imagine, that's great, but that's what's going on in my mind. For that
Yeah.
And I can't wait to do the video. Like, I've talked with Seth Vining about it. Like, we got to make this video because this is it, you know. So,
that's awesome. What would you say? Who would you say, music-wise, or just which artist influenced you the most?
Elton John.
Elton John. I knew that answer was coming.
Elton John. You know what's so funny is, like, some of my friends will call me and ask me a question. I was like, you know, you have Google. They're like, yeah, but Google could be wrong, and I know you're gonna know. Like, you know, or my son will come in and he'll try to stomp me with something, and I'll give him the answer, and he's like, yeah, that's what it says. You know, I think that's great. I had some amazing friends come with me to see Rocket Man, and they came with me to see Rocket Man just because they wanted to see my reaction to the movie.
They came to watch you.
And came out fans, and then we spent 2.5 hours drinking beers, going, all right, this part of the movie, is this real? I was like, no, this came from this, but you know, this is that. They're like, how do you know this? I said, I spent years, man. I spent years reading.
That's cool. What advice would you give to the next generation that's coming up, whether it's artists or just entrepreneur, really?
I'll just keep working at it. Just keep working at it. Everybody has their own gift, and if you believe in it, you just keep working at it. Like, if it's a performer, I would say you got to do at least, and I've heard many other people tell other performers this, you gotta do at least 100 shows. And if your 100 shows is, you gotta go to open mics. You gotta see what it's like. You can't just think you're gonna go stand on it. You might have one good night, and the next night won't be good if you don't know how to handle it. If you don't see it and listen and research other types of art that inspire you. I am a huge fan of stand-up. I think it is the hardest thing to do. There is no music. There is nothing behind you. There is a crowd that's looking at says, entertain me, and you have a microphone and maybe a stand and a glass of water, and then go. Like, you know, how hard is that? That's so much more difficult than, you know, when I sit here and I can entertain you this pretty little da-da-da-da-da. So by watching them and how they do it and how they move, and I love that. I love that. I love how smart and intelligent comedians are, whether it's on, you know, surreal comedians or, you know, I can't think of the word right now, but, you know, like everyday kind of, I'm not finding the word. I can't believe I can't find the word, but it'll come to me right while I'm singing, I'm sure, right? You know? Yeah, but, you know, that kind of, like, telling your story and just keep going. As long as you believe, don't look for someone else to believe in you. You have to believe in you.
I like that. I definitely like that. All right, we got one more question before we end this interview. I know you got to get going and start performing soon. What are you working on? Projects, tour dates?
Okay, yeah. Right now, we're working on my EP, getting my EP together, and I'm working with Seth Vining, and the artwork is so cool. Like, came up with this idea because he sent me something. I like it. It's really great. It's not what I think. I like it. It's really great. And he comes up with something like look at my smile, right? Last night, day before yesterday, he sends me this thing, and I just was like, that's it. So he came out to the gig, you know, last night, and we sat down for just a little while before I had to leave because my kids are home. I was like, oh, this is great. And then while I was driving home, I was like, okay, mental note this, mental note that. I get home and oh, this one, and don't forget this picture, and don't forget, it was so great because it was hit the right nerve that it's going to be amazing. And that's what we're working on, is getting that EP out. Hopefully before I leave, getting some other things. We've recorded a few songs to be able to to put them on out for other singles too. So there's quite a bit. I like to be working many steps ahead because I like to stay busy.
That's awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to what you got coming. I'm sure everyone else is. I wish you success beyond your imagination. You are an amazing artist. Man, keep doing what you're doing. You have a story to tell, and you're telling it, and you're doing a great job at it. So keep doing what you're doing for real. In saying that, man, we are complete. What episode is this? 43? Sure is. Man, already 43 episodes in 3 months, man. Episode 43, kicking it with international singer-songwriter Emily Glazener. I gotta get better with these names. I apologize, man. I really appreciate you. Go ahead. I know you're about to kill that stage right now. Go have fun, man. I appreciate it. It's definitely a blessing.
I will. I'm gonna set up and sweat some more. See, all this is gonna become.
Man, I appreciate you. You have a good day.
Later.
H-Town, stand up.